Hi, this is Dan from Magic Pachinko Restorations with another short video about a vintage pachinko machine. If you enjoy watching these videos, I would ask that you click on subscribe, the link down below. Soon to get near 2 million. Very slowly I'm working to 2 million. I've got a couple hundred now, but my goal is 2 million. If you haven't gone to the website, magicpachinkorestorations.com is up and running and has a lot of good information on it. I'd love to have you stop in and look around, say hi. So this is a very special machine that I'm showing you today. Of course, there's got to be a glare. Figures, maybe I'll turn this light off. That may not be enough light. I guess we'll put up with the glare. Okay. This is a special electric. This is one of the few machines that Nishijin made in the 70s that were that had extra electronics on them. These are I kind of get a chuckle out of people that claim their pachinko machines are rare. There's really, in my opinion, no such thing as a rare pachinko machine. They made pachinko machines by the hundreds of thousands. So they're not really rare, but there are some that are very collectible. And this particular machine is one of those simply because it's what's considered a special electrics. Nishijin made about 6 or so different varieties of this. This is called the Power Flash. It does have the playing card theme. They did make 2 versions of this machine. They made one called the Thunderbird and one called the Chinaman, and this is the Chinaman version of it. The main difference is the Thunderbird only had this tulip here, not this one. But they both work the same. I'll show you how they work in just a minute. So this was a complete restoration. Everything gets stripped down, everything gets cleaned, everything gets replaced. All the decals got replaced. The nails get tumbled, the background was replaced. So it's a typical of the work that I do on a full restoration. Now the one thing that is much different about this particular machine is on the back it looks just like a regular Model B, which basically it is. It is a Model B machine for sure, but internally it's got some different parts that regular pachinko machines don't have, and I'm going to show you that in just a second here. So what makes this special is this. So these are 4 solenoids and a series of, I'm not even sure what you want to call these, just pieces that move up and down, and the tulips have these little rods on them. So when they go up, they're open. When they go down, they're closed, or vice versa. But these solenoids will fire based on the micro switches and either open tulips or closed tulips automatically. So that's what definitely sets this machine apart. So this is the main board, and then this is an extra board that the guts get mounted on, and then it hinges open, obviously. So that's a big difference there with the inner workings of this particular machine. Now, when these machines left Japan, they were basically just ripped out of the parlors, and I mean that quite literally, to the point where most pachinko machines that you come across don't have any power hooked up to them. Now, machines of this era don't need power to work, because most of the time power is just provided for 2 light bulbs. These particular machines run off of a 24-volt power supply. This is a 24-volt AC power supply. The wiring runs up into this fuse block. This fuse block has a rectifier in it, which changes it to 24-volt DC, which then runs in and powers the solenoids. So these transformers that I use actually have 2 blue and a yellow. If you use the blues, you get 24 volts. If you use a blue and a yellow, like you do up here, you get a 12 volts. So I utilize the transformer to power not only the solenoids, but the ball out light, and there's a light back in there for the win, okay? So that's how that's all set up. Again, this was all brand new because it gets ripped out and left behind in the pachinko parlors. So I'll show you how to set this machine up. This does set up very typically like a regular Model B. So when you plug it in, you'll notice this light comes on, and that's because this micro switch, this leaf switch is made. It's made because there's no weight on this, so it's pushing down, making the contact. So what you want to do before you add balls to this is make sure that the ball dump mechanism is latched, and it's right here, and you push this over to the right so that it interfaces with this piece, and it latches, and then it keeps these legs in place so the balls can run across and into the jackpot chamber. If you push here, it releases it, and now you notice the legs will swing way up and let the balls out and down the exit chute. That's how you clean the machine. But for right now, for our purposes, we want the latch hooked like that. So make sure you do that. If you don't, the balls will just run out of the machine as you put them in. So initially you want to take just a handful and let them run, and they'll run all the way down and fill up the jackpot chamber on either side. The reason I say a handful is that if you forget this, only a handful are going to end up on the floor instead of all of them. So once you know that this is okay and the balls are going through the pathway the right way, you can go ahead and load this up. And you should have 300 to 400 balls in the upper hopper. Now the weight is on this. It lifted up so that that light's no longer on. So when you see that light on, it means there's not enough balls in your back hopper. The other thing you want to check is this area in here is called the Seesaw Chamber. Unfortunately, this machine didn't have the cover, nor did it have the cover for the jackpot chamber, but they're not necessary. They don't affect the gameplay. But you do want to make sure that this white piece here is set so that this end is low and this end is high. This is what's called the seesaw for obvious reasons. If this end is low, obviously you can just reach in like this. If it did have the cover, you would go under here and push, and it tips it back up. So any winning ball comes into the machine, hits the end of the seesaw, it then tips. It will let the ball go down to this chute right here. It presses down on the jackpot arm. The jackpot arm then opens up the jackpot chamber, lets the winning balls out. The original winning ball will drop out here, and any losing ball will drop out here. So you do need something that will sit here and is wide enough to catch the balls so they don't end up all on the floor. Okay? So let me get this turned around. And then you're going to put 25, 30 balls in the upper tray. And you're just going to start to launch balls. Oh. I just told you to reset that. I didn't. Okay. All right. Okay, so obviously this game is not the easiest game to win under normal circumstances, but let me show you the way that it is designed to work. So you have 4 tulips here, 4 here, and again they're controlled by the solenoids. So if you are lucky enough to get a ball in the upper attraction, watch the tulips. So all of the tulips pop open, and when the tulips are open, it's much easier to win. Now, if you notice here, there's a little spinner, and the nails are real close in here and here, so you'll never get a ball to go in if the tulip is closed, and that's by design. If I put a ball in yellow on either side, it closes all the tulips. So again, it's by design. Now, if you're playing and a ball goes in here, as it goes through the machine, it will open all the tulips, and it does that on both sides. If you end up getting a ball down in the little Chinaman, it'll drop through and open it. Okay? So now that all the tulips are open, you'll see how much easier it is to win. And then unfortunately you got it in the yellow and it closes all the tulips. So you got to start shooting and hope you can get them to open up again. So the goal is to try to get one in here, here, or here. Okay? And you can do that by pressing all the way down and it'll fly to the right, pressing down 3/4 of the way and it'll tend to stay on the left side. So you'll get used, there we go. I just opened them all up and just closed them up again. But that's the way the machine works. It's a pretty machine. It'll last forever and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.